starting from scratch, Host AI can be a single one-stop shop for everything.
Okay, thank you.
Great presentation. I think I do understand and I agree on some of the point that you brought in, like like how to maximize GPU usage and whatnot. What worries me is like it's still a race to the bottom on pricing. Like it's still gonna be a race to the bottom, and I think I might be wrong, but I think delivering outcome instead of capacity is the solution. But I'm just curious what your take on it is.
No, it's a great question. I actually spend a lot of time analyzing prices in this market, and you're right? It's like, I call it as most of these neo clouds today, they do what I call as financial engineering, right? Which is you set a price, you see how it works, and then you lower the price, and at some point it becomes unsustainable, right? Because the way the whole GPU market works is, on one hand, you buy these GPU servers and you're paying your EMI, your mortgage, on these servers. On the other side, you're renting these servers. If your rental income is greater than your EMI, you can make money, right? And like, for example, if you do a B300 server today, like I said, it's $500,000. So you need to charge a particular amount of rent for you to even make money on your investment on the GPUs, right? So that said, though, neoclouds do a lot of, let's call it as financial engineering, and prices go down and all that. But the reality is, you could, today the B300, the latest, greatest NVIDIA GPU, if you want it from, like, say, a CoreWeave or someone, in fact, it's just launching in most of these neoclouds. You're probably looking at $6, $7 an hour, right? But with technologies like, and then over time, I'm sure once it launches, it'll be 6, 7. After 1 year, it'll be 4, 5. After 1.5 years, it'll be 3, 4. So the price will keep decreasing. In that sense, you're right, it is a race to the bottom. But what we want to do is, when a B300 is launched, you can actually launch it straight at $3. Right? You can actually launch it at a much lower price point because of virtualization. You can now overcommit the B300. You can actually make much more. You can get much more juice out of the GPUs, and you can actually make real money out of these GPUs, right? So you can actually sell it for $3, and then you can overcommit the GPU maybe 3, 4, 5 times and make $15 instead of the person not using virtualization is making $5 to $6. With GPU sharing, GPU overcommit, you can make $15, $20 on that GPU, right? So yes, you're right. You're right in one sense. That is, with virtualization, you can make more money. It's not exactly a race to the bottom. But the other way to also look at it is, as you said, the services on top, right? In fact, if you go to Packet, what we're doing is we are launching, give me a second, I will share my screen. We are basically launching what we call as a token factory, right? So think of token factories as, these are basically, a token factory is like, for example, if you need to run some I'll keep it in very simple terms, right? If you need to run some GPU workload, you need some tokens. So you can like, if you're running an inference workload, or if you're running it's mostly for inference, right? Token factories are typically used in inference. If you need a particular number of tokens, you can actually come to us, right? And then we've also done integrations into most of the open source Hugging Face models. We have done integrations into other, let's call it as higher level inference engines and so on. So yes, you're right. There is, the GPU layer is the infrastructure layer, and then there is a services layer on top of it, right? And that's where I think inference services, token factories, all of those carry immense weight, right? So absolutely, I think it is a, in one sense, it's a race to the bottom. You can be differentiated with interesting technologies, and you can build interesting concepts on top of your infrastructure, like token factories, to drive more utilization and drive much better bang for the buck from the infrastructure.
So nodes are basically kind of like moving from just capacity to deliver an outcome. Like, hey, you need inference.
Yes,
and that
exactly.
And here's the inference.
Exactly. I like the way you described it. You deliver outcomes versus just capacity.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Nerdar.
Thank you, Naren. Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you. It's really, my apologies, I couldn't be there in person. There's a lot
So
of
we
travel.
plan next edition, hopefully we'll make it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to being there, and thank you so much for the invite, Ziad and team.
Yeah,
Really
thank you as well that we took you in this very early or late hour.
No, it's all good. It's good. It's very good.
Thank you very much.
Super excited.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We are told that AI is the new oil, but in Africa we have a serious problem. We have the raw material, but we don't own the refinery again. So if we don't control the infrastructure, then we can't control our future. This is the heart of the developer sovereignty. So yesterday, this morning, we talked a lot about AI adoption that would reach around 100% of adoption around 2013. Artificial intelligence has fundamentally changed the way we look at data, the value of the data. So data is just no longer just stored in server that needs to be protected and so on. It's a strategic asset that fuels decision-making, automation, and economic growth. So controlling data today means controlling the AI algorithms that are training, controlling the infrastructure where this data is going to live. So Africa is generating massive amounts of data from different sectors, public sectors, healthcare sectors, and so on. However, this data actually is not analyzed, stored, neither processed using local technology. It all happens with foreign platforms where the value extraction is happening elsewhere. So the risk is not just economic, but it's a strategic risk. So the decisions influencing the African market are taken elsewhere. While Africa has 70% of the worldwide population, it only has 1% of the global data center capacity. 90% of the critical workload of Africa is actually hosted elsewhere. So China is playing a decisive role here. So I've read a lot regarding China roles in Africa, and it's becoming a dominant provider of Africa's digital foundation, especially for the digital Silk Road initiatives, where China have been building a lot of telco infrastructures and data centers for Africa. So this was a pragmatic necessity for many African countries rather than an ideological choice. So, at the same time, Africa is navigating among many governance model regarding the sovereignty. So from a part, we have a China that is state-centric, that is infrastructure-first approach. From the other side, we have the US as a market-driven, platform-centric model. And from the other side, we have the Europe that has a regulation-driven approach, and particularly around data protection. So Africa is having a hybrid path. First, combining the Chinese infrastructure, from the other part, having the legal framework from Europe concerning data protection laws. Many countries starting adopting data protection laws in Africa, and it's moving toward this model. So, when we talk about data sovereignty, about what are we talking exactly? It's not really the location of the data, where the data center is. It's a whole infrastructure that we're talking about. It's a multidimensional challenge that we need to tackle in all of its aspects. So we start first with the infrastructure. So who owns and operates the cloud nodes? Then controlling the data, who's actually deciding who gets access to the data, and more importantly, who captures the economical value of this data. Then we have the AI and algorithms. It's becoming increasingly critical for nowadays, okay? So who's going to transform this raw data to valuable data? Using which algorithms, which decisions are going to be made for these AI algorithms? Then we have the technology itself. So can we audit it? Can we inspect it? Can we modify it? Can we chip it? What can we do with this technology? Are we just going to use it as it is? Then we have the operations. So can the system run without external dependency? Who's running operation on our clouds? And finally, we have the jurisdiction. So which laws are truly applied on that system? You know all about regulation and the Cloud Act and so on. So this is very important for the sovereignty as well. But sovereignty is really a big challenge, and here is where the developer sovereignty comes in.
Yeah, we are talking a lot about a sovereign platform, sovereign cloud, but how really how we can build it. Thankfully, and the good news, there is multiple tools that's out there, free to be used, available for us to build this cloud. So let's start from the base. For the operating system, we all know Linux. Linux is the foundation of, it's basically the most used operating system in the cloud, actually, and it's very customizable for any use case that we want, either telco, finance, or any use case. And we have also the hypervisor, KVM, one of the most used one in the open source world as well. It can support multiple type of workload or multiple type of operating systems. Now comes the networking part. From the network, talking about cloud, we should talk about SDN, software-defined networking, and there is multiple tools out there, open source tools that can allow us to build our networking layer, like OVN, Calico, Cilium, that allows us to create virtual networks, but also like firewalls, router, switches, layer 2 network, and also load balancers as well. Concerning the storage, we need a scalable storage system, and there is also good news that there is multiple open source tools that is proven, used by a lot of cloud providers out there, like Ceph, Min.io. Those are storage that can scale up from terabyte to exabyte or petabyte of storage. Okay, now we have the foundation. We also have developers needs more services that allows them to use the cloud the same as the hyperscaler clouds. Thankfully, we still have a toolkit of tools, like for example OpenStack and Kubernetes. OpenStack acts as an infrastructure as a service tool, and Kubernetes. So both combined can really provide to developers or to users the same experience as the hyperscaler clouds. Now let's talk about sovereign AI. So there is also open source tools, free, that allows you to do, for example, training, pipeline, developing like Kubeflow, or also inference for large language models like VLLM. Also from the database, which is the backbone of any application that the developer use. Like we can use open source tools like Postgres, MySQL, MongoDB. Those are very used and supported by the community. And concerning the messaging buses, we have Kafka, RabbitMQ. A lot of company, also finance company and others use those messaging bus for their applications. Okay, concerning the consumer to sovereign builder, though, the old model basically developers use already built-in platform that they just consume. They buy it from elsewhere, and they just consume their API. So they are really dependent on their innovation. They are just adopters, not builders. Now, for the sovereign model, they really develop their own application, very specific to their need, very customized to their use cases, and they can innovate, they can build, they can iterate on it and transfer all the knowledge as well and the skills. All right, the three rights of developer sovereignty. Okay, we have the right to understand, so access the source code and transparent system. This is one of the rights, most important rights for the sovereignty, the right to modify, also adapt the system on our use cases, on our context, and the right to redistribute what we use.
So, who are we? We are a specialist, a team of open source experts dedicated to full lifecycle management of modern cloud ecosystem. So we start by designing, building, and then even managing cloud systems based on open source technology, providing a full agility, automation, performance, and security. So we recently have launched our public cloud platform for SMEs so that they can also as well benefit from advantages of open source technology. So that's going to bring enterprise-grade open source technology to small and medium enterprises, providing them with scalability, security, and it's built for growth. So why we chosen open source? Open source because it provides first cost efficiency, no vendor lock-in. Then it's security through transparency, no black box, so you can secure whatever you want. Innovation at scale. There is a huge talent and a huge community standing with open source. And finally, because of the sovereignty and the full control. It's not only that, but even the market is adopting a lot of open source trends. So most of the code base that are generated nowadays are based on open source. 95% of the AI workload is happening on Kubernetes. A lot of CPUs says that political aspects are going to increase the organization future use of open source technology and regional cloud providers.
Yeah, thank you for the great presentation. I mean, I would like to start with something that I might not agree with you, which is you guys use the term free a lot of times. And we all know in the open source community, and I've been contributing to open source for a long time, that open source does not mean it's free. Because you're putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort, consultancy, hiring people, and so on. But the point there is great because we all want to minimize the dependency on proprietary software that we do not control or platforms that we only have APIs access to. That's aside. My question is, don't you think that using or putting together a lot of open source projects makes it into something that it's hard to maintain and control, and maybe even costly to control at some point? A lot of companies, when they go open source, they start falling behind because it's just hard to upgrade, and the cost of upgrading is expensive because they don't have the expertise to do it. That's one. And two, the second question, my only question, a lot of companies are behind open source, including ours, including companies like Synidia that is behind NATS. And all of us in the open source struggle with the problem of people taking the open source and not giving back. So it's hard to monetize open source. And my question to you is, how are you giving back and helping these companies behind all these products monetize as well?
Yeah. All right. Concerning, thank you for the question. Very good questions. Yeah, concerning the cost, about free and not free, and the maintainability and the upgradability. That's really true. So yeah, it's free doesn't mean that you will not spend on it. But what I've seen is also. First of all, other product, even if you pay the license, you still need to have time to go and to learn them. This is the first thing. The second thing, free, I mean, we mean that, okay, you don't have any license to pay. You are totally independent. It doesn't relate to any vCPU or CPU, or if you want to scale up, you don't pay more than you already invested in the when you get your scale. The second question, remind. Yeah.
About skills that we need to have in order to maintain and so on.
Yes, concerning the skills, I think so. In our country, in Tunisia, or in the region, we already have the base of the skills the base of the skills, like from the university, that can be built in to be able to upskill and to support those technologies, to understand them and to be able to operate them. And so the open source world, I've been here for more in the open source industry for more than 10 years. It becomes more and more stable, more and more reliable, more and more companies that I see, and they are using them, they are maintaining them, and they are like, for example, open bugs if there is any issue. And I think even using the open source can be a way to give back to the open source community by opening bugs, by creating a blog post. By this can contribute to the open source technologies.
Monetizing. How can we monetize the open source?
Oh, there is multiple ways to monetize open source. One of the what I know very well is by supporting it. So when we become like skill, we have like a lot of we become expert in multiple technologies. We can support other companies on that technologies, and then we can monetize that. I hope I understand.
What I meant is how do you give back to the original project? Because that's one of the issues in open source. So when you take Kubernetes, it's backed by all the big companies. They never give back. They just give their money to the Linux Foundation, who pays just bureaucrats huge salaries. No developer get paid money. If you take other smaller, big projects, but with one company behind, example, NATS and Synidia, like they're like the money they make is nothing compared to the millions of users that use their open source. So what I'm trying to say is, at some point it becomes selfish, and how do you solve that selfishness?
So, in my opinion, in the open source world, so you can contribute on like fixing bugs, like contributing on the source code, opening bugs, creating like a blog post, make like people make the tool much more usable, and then you contribute, you remove your selfishness. Since you use it, you monetize it, but also you give back to the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The other question, having many open source tools that are built together. So the thing is the story of design. So if you design well your product, having the right open source tools, it's true, maintaining them is not the best thing to do after, but it's the design is the key. So he built a big open source project, okay, with many open source tools, and then yes, you should have a very good team, okay, behind you. But well, design is the first thing you need to think about.
Yeah, sorry, I have a really short question, and it's about, I mean, where can we see the public cloud and test it out? I mean, there's an URL. Where do we go to see it and test it?
Okay.
Yeah. So we can give you an email. So we need to activate accounts right now. And we give you access to this cloud.
Actually, it's one-to-one based, but very, very soon it will be accessible through our website as well. But yes, we can have your email and then activate your account very shortly.
Thank you for the presentation. You say that The problem is not where data,
The data lives.
lives, but who controls the data. How can we convince our customer, and especially government customer, that you as a provider, cloud provider, don't control more his data?
So the question is, how can we convince government that not controlling the data is the major issue regarding sovereignty?
No. How convince him that you, as a provider, a cloud provider, don't control his data more than him?
Okay, so actually for structures like governments and so on, they might have their own private cloud. So they will control, they would give us access to whatever they want, and they can have their full control over their infrastructure if needed. So they can have full control on the technology, the infrastructure, the operations, and everything if they can manage that. Otherwise, we can just interfere wherever it needs to be, wherever we can help. You see? Thank you. That's it. Thank you so
Other
much.
question? Thank you.